in. But we are going to be jumping into this first game as soon as we possibly can, as soon as these teams are readying up. And we're already getting donations, we're already getting subscribers, so that's kind of unbelievable. Thank you guys so much for that support. I really do appreciate it. Every single dollar that we get in donations, guys, goes directly towards future tournament prize pools. As you guys know, each one of these smaller tournaments, GPL 1 through 5, do have a $500 prize pool. And then the finals itself, which is what these teams are trying to become eligible for, is going to be next week, and that has a $2,000 prize pool. So every cent that we get in these donations go directly towards being able to fund those events. So thank you all so much. We just started. This is the very first series of the tournament, of day 2 of the tournament, GPL tournament number 5. This is the last tournament before the finals. The finals will happen next week. All the tournaments have been bi-weekly so far, but the finals will not be. They're going to happen next week at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific at GCD TV on Saturday and Sunday. So make sure you're following the stream as well as the Twitter to be notified when that goes down. But we're going to be jumping into the game between Method and Please Sponsor Us very, very soon. Will you have a tournament in EU as well? Yeah, we absolutely are. We actually announced yesterday on Twitter as well as the stream that we will be hosting a Pro League for Europe spring. And that's going to be starting in February. More information on that will be announced via Twitter, so make sure you're following us on Twitter if you want to learn more about the European events that are to come.
I'm interested to see if Vinruki or Smexxin is going to be on the bench for the first game. Yesterday, we saw Vinruki playing a lot, and I guess they want to practice that matchup. They feel it's better. I think I heard on their stream one time that Vinruki's purpose is really to try and counter the Mage Paladin teams, and Rub Cubs would be a prime example of a Mage Paladin team. So I'm wondering if they're going to use Vinruki or if they're just going to use Smexxin. I think they definitely have more practice with. I mean, obviously they're known as the Three Amigos for MLS, but I wouldn't say that they have the most practice this expansion with it. Whereas WLS, they've been kind of going every day for at least the past couple of weeks, I think. So I think it'd be safer to start with the WLS, because I also know that Please Sponsor Us have been having problems with Lock Shaman teams, so that's why they've got Chanimal and Warlock, and even Rub Cub learning how to play Shaman, and they could even potentially mirror Lock Shaman with the FLS.
Yep,
so
they potentially could. That'd be pretty hype, man. The MLS mirror. Yeah, I mean, we saw Vinruki. It feels like Method feels that MLS and WLS both have their own strengths in the matchup against God Comp specifically. But which one of those comps has the advantage against FMP? Feral Mage Paladin. We're going to find out here, guys. The first map of this best of 5 series will be played out on, of course, the Grand Arena. Welcome everyone to the Grand Arena. It's Method versus Please Sponsor Us, game number 1, and we do see the Warrior Lock Shaman come out for Method. Smexxin will be entering the arena instead of Vinruki this time around to take on Please Sponsor Us choice Feral Mage Paladin. Beanslayer, Sam I Am, and Rub Cub will be representing Please Sponsor Us. This is game 1. This is a blind pick between these two teams, and we're about to jump right into the action right away. Here we go.
Definitely think Method got the comp advantage here in round 1. But Please Sponsor Us are really well practiced on this comp, so maybe they can overcome it. Beanslayer moving in stealth, looking to see who he wants to open on here. Sam I Am standing on top of Sea-Doo and Smexxin right now, ready to lead the charge. Icy Veins Polymorph, even without the deep freeze, landing onto Sea-Doo very quickly as they open onto Snuts, already down almost below half with full bleeds. Full Hodge onto Smexxin, half sheep onto Sea-Doo. Beanslayer looking for a clone, doesn't manage to get it, but Snuts is still taking a lot of damage here. Mass Reflect and Desperation comes out, 6% HP remaining. Rallying Cry and Trinket Link having to come out from the side of Method, and despite having a composition disadvantage, they still have that incarnation that's going to be very scary for Method moving forward.
It is. They got quite a bit right there with just, I mean, getting that sheep without a deep freeze and whatnot. They're being really frugal with their setups, and it's paying off for them so far. Snuts is actually trying to pull it out with that Demon Soul, try to push that pressure back over out onto Samayam. They're starting to feel it. Rubcub's doing a great job healing through this and keeping his team aggressive, and it looks like Please Sponsor Us is not going to stop the aggression anytime soon. The deep freeze lands on the Sea-Doo, but the mass Speller Fleck will come out from Smexxin because of the trinket on the Hodge. The cross CC from Please Sponsor Us is getting trinkets left and right, but they got to land the CC here because they are in the face of a WLS, and they're taking the heat. Haunt's connecting over out on the Samayan, dipping him down to 50% health here. He's going to orb out here. He wants to get aggressive, but Snuts is just line of sighting nonstop. The double Shadow Fury comes out from Snuts as well, getting the trinket from Samayan as well as the blink from Samayan, the trinket from Beanslayer. Beanslayer taking a whole bunch of damage, but he has Incarnation up. He wants to be in their face. He goes for the Cyclone, but he gets kicked from Smexxin. Can Please Sponsors continue this momentum? They have wings up for Rubcub, so they should be able to afford to just stay aggressive here, and Snuts is never ever out of the deep end just yet. He's at 50% health here. Their Sea-Doo goes into the bash. Do they have anything to follow it up? The Aura Mastery Polymorph is going to land, but it actually does get reflected by Smexxin once again with the Frost Jaw to follow it up. Snuts still at 50% health here, and Please Sponsor Us. They just want to take this Warlock down as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah, Smexxin interrupting that Cyclone, very important to stop Sea-Doo from going to those polymorph chains to clone chains. But Beanslayer gets an offensive clone on Snuts here at low HP. Sea-Doo's going to have to respond appropriately. Picking himself back up now. Deep freeze over onto Sea-Doo. Samayam Evanescence polymorphing Sea-Doo full with no trinket. Snuts has no dark regeneration. Who is going to save Snuts? Snuts has to do it. He's going to Soulburn Portal. He's running away with that sprint effect, but Beanslayer gets the full Cyclone. Snuts is getting bursted down below 13%. He could easily fall here. Master Fleck is going to buy him one more second to give Sea-Doo the time to get his last Spirit Link off and survive for now. Now, with no Avenging Wrath for about 20 more seconds, Snuts and Smexxin need to get some work done here onto the health bars of Please Sponsor Us. Sea-Doo actually getting locked out there into a half-yard Cyclone. Not going to accomplish too much. There's the Recklessness coming out from Smexxin. Smexxin smash. Beanslayer down to 27%, almost into execute range. Samayam into execute range. He just survived an execute at 2, not enough. And Method immediately turning the tables and taking game number 1 against Please Sponsor Us.
As soon as that Recklessness come out, it was just curtains for Please Sponsor Us. Damage was just too much to handle, as they're in their face non-stop just trying to make something happen, and it really does take a toll on the defensive cooldowns available. And there you have it. Please Sponsor Us are going to go down to Method in game number 1 of this best of 5 series. Smexxin, Snuts, and Sea-Doo's WLS are looking just as strong as they were in tournament number 4. I wonder how Please Sponsor Us is going to react to this composition, the WLS. Are they going to stick with FMP, or are they going to go to God Comp? What is it that they're going to choose to do here in game number 2? Because they will have the composition advantage. Don't forget, they're going to know what composition Method will be playing and choose their composition accordingly with that loser's advantage. And we're going to be getting into that game very shortly. There you have it.
I think most of the people that play WLS consider FLS not a direct counter anymore, but definitely advantage. So they could play FLS if they wanted to. They've definitely been practicing it. Maybe they don't feel 100% confident with it. I mean, it was pretty close for Snuts throughout that game. There were lots of moments where I actually thought he was going to end up going down. So they do have that sort of positivity to rely on, like, okay, well, we almost killed him. We kind of messed this up or this or something. So there's one point, Samayam got that full sheet with Evanescence, but he couldn't chain it into another one, so they had to use the clone right away, and they ran out of DRs. If they were able to get a half sheep, even that extra 3 seconds into a clone, then Snuts would have gone down. So maybe with a little bit more offensive play during those moments, like maybe an offensive Aura Mastery from Rubcub, if he can even really spare it, maybe even an offensive bop, just to make sure Samayam doesn't get pummeled or something. I definitely think if they could get that last CC chain, they definitely would have killed Snuts. So maybe they just play more of the same. I guess it also depends if Method decide, like, okay, well, we won that game, but we're going to play MLS now because that was kind of scary, and see how that does.
I mean, we've seen Please Sponsor Us pull that move as well. Like, they win a game, they get the momentum, but they actually change up the composition just to, like, I don't know, to not make it as easy to anticipate, right? The play style of the next game. But, you know, I was actually listening to the Sea-Doo the other day, and he actually felt like that comp swap from MLS to WLS actually hurt him a little bit in his play style. So I don't know if he wants to do that. But we just got a resub for 11 months in a row. Thank you so much, Shades, for that resub. That is unbelievable. That's a long freaking time. It's crazy. I can't even remember what we were doing 11 months ago, but I'm really happy you decided to subscribe 11 months ago and stick with us. That is pretty awesome. We're going to be jumping into the next game here between Method and Please sponsor us. Please sponsor us. Of course, was running the FMP in game number 1. You know, we haven't seen Sam I Am run that Warlock yet in a tournament, have we? We know we have one time out of desperation, right? I feel like he ran a Warlock one time. It was like Chan I Am.
I also think, at least on the ladder, WLSs run into a lot of frustration when Feral Mage is actually playing with a Disc Priest. I know Rubcub has one. My voice is gargling. But I know Rubcub can play a Disc Priest. I just wonder if he's confident enough on it, because I think the Disc version of this comp actually might be better into the WLS. It's just, if they set up a lot of drinks for Rubcub, they can just extend the game to the point where dampening is so high that you can no longer heal Snuts, whereas Discipline Priest healing still remains pretty high even in dampening, as long as they have mana to use it. So I don't know if they want to like experiment with that at all, but I do remember FMP with a Disc Priest giving a lot of frustrations to most of the WLSs on the ladder.
Yeah, I mean, Disc Priests, for example, have just... I feel like they're a much more aggressive healer, and for the playstyle that Please Sponsor Us showed in the last game, it definitely would benefit them. But it looks like they're going to be sticking with the Holy Paladin here against the WLS of Method. They're going to stick with the Feral Druid as well. They're not changing the composition up at all. They want to keep BSX in there. They do not want to tag in Merkmines just yet. They want to see what they got. This is a best of 5 series after all. Method currently up 1-0. The team that makes it to 3 wins first will be moving on in the tournament, and the team that does not will be eliminated from the tournament. Here we go. The gates have opened. Smexxin and Sea-Doo are just going to get that gateway and play it back. Wait for them to push in. Beanslayer looking for the opener. Deep freeze onto Sea-Doo. Mass Spell coming out from Smexxin right away, but the Polymorph is going to land regardless. Snuts now caught into that Hodge, but the defensive fear coming out from Smexxin is going to negate a lot of the momentum here. Can they follow up the CC? They do. Sea-Doo now caught into that full Cyclone, and Snuts is just on the defensive. Reckless from Smexxin onto Sam I Am, dipping him down to 50% health there, taking a whole bunch of pressure, and looks like Sam I Am's going to stabilize for now as they poly up Smexxin on the end of that Recklessness, and Sea-Doo's going to leave the CC, and it looks like Method really didn't trade up a lot of defensive cooldowns for that opener from Please Sponsor Us.
Yeah, definitely not the same opener as last game. We see Sea-Doo caught in a deep freeze, but they don't manage to get the Sheep or the Frostjaw. Snuts is going to interrupt those. And now with Snuts' Dark Soul up, he's looking to build some pressure. Unfortunately, no dots on the Rubcub, and he did just get locked out, so the rest of his Dark Soul not going to accomplish too much. But Smexxin is doing some work right now. Sam I Am below 40%. Rubcub forced to Avenging Wrath. He gets charge stunned on his heel. Sam I Am into Execute range. Execution Sense barely saving Sam I Am in the nick of time there, getting him out of that deadly Execute range. Now Snuts trying to load up some dots here. Goes for that second Dark Soul, landing a full fear over onto Rubcub. And this is definitely a tone to Snuts' playstyle. He really likes to go for CC on the healers and just focus single target more so on Sam I Am and Beanslayer. But we see Sea-Doo CC'd. Smexxin just coming out of a Cyclone. Snuts down to half HP, trying to line of sight here. Sea-Doo now caught into that full Cyclone. Beanslayer's going to reconnect. Is he going to pop the Incarnation? I think they're trying to save it until they manage to force Sea-Doo's Trinket. Beanslayer gets a nice offensive clone. Snuts actually man-moding it and Unbound Willing out of that, taking a huge chunk of damage, but Sea-Doo will top him off. Rubcub in the meantime forced to bubble here as Sam I Am is not playing with Ice Block. He only has Evanescence to stay alive, so Rubcub needs to trade out his cooldowns to keep him going. But how much longer can Beanslayer really sit and wait with this Incarnation?
I don't know, man. I think he's got to press it sooner or later here. I mean, this Evanescence and this Warrior is not a good mixture, and Sam I Am is feeling the pain. Deep freeze on a Sea-Doo, Hodge on the Snuts. Can't Please Sponsor Us gain the momentum they need. Nothing to follow it up just yet. Beanslayer gets locked out. Sam I Am not available to get the Polymorph. Is he going to get it? He gets the Polymorph onto Sea-Doo. Snuts in a bit of trouble, though. But the fears, Sam I Am, or Beanslayer getting swapped to, it's going to force the wall as well. He was in Execute range there. Saber the Light will proc, however, but a crazy swap from Method is going to force Beanslayer defensive there, but this is Incarnation as well as this Berserk, and he's really not getting a whole lot out of it besides the regen of Snuts, which he used earlier. I mean, looking at Sea-Doo's defensive cooldowns, they still have plenty of tools to deal with the future onslaught of the setup, so Please Sponsor Us, and slowly Please Sponsor Us is losing just all the momentum that they accumulated out of that Incarnation. If any, double Shadow Fury coming out from Snuts on his Demon Soul. He's about to do so much damage. Rubcub in anticipation is going to pop that Aura Mastery, Wings, and Trinket there to keep his team offensive, but that's just another defensive cooldown. Almost all the defensive cooldowns to keep Sam I Am aggressive here are used at this point, and Please Sponsor Us. They got to pull something out of their hat soon.
Yeah, Please Sponsor Us are kind of just flailing around just to stay alive and stay in the game.
Sea-Doo still has that trinket. He still has 2 links. He still has Ascendant. Sea-Doo has everything remaining. Rubcub caught into a full Stormbolt. Snuts into the bash. Sea-Doo into the Deep Freeze. He does manage to Master Fleck the Sheep, but they follow it up with a clone. A bit of an overlap with the Frostjaw, however. Beanstar going for that re-stealth Shadow Meld stun onto Snuts. Smexxin caught into that Fist of Justice. Sea-Doo still getting cloned up. Double Shadow Fury, though, out from Snuts is going to shut down the incoming CC here. Charge stun onto that Cyclone from him. But they do land the full Polymorph. I'm not sure if that was Evanescence or not, but now Snuts is in trouble. Sea-Doo's actually forced to Trinket. Rubcub caught into that full Fear, though. Samayam does have no blocks. He is not playing with Ice Block. He's almost in execute range. This is similar to last time. He's forced to Evanescence defensively. He uses the Cold Snap, but they get a full clone onto Sea-Doo's Ascendance. Snuts still kind of alone here down at half HP, trying to stay right next to Sea-Doo so that he can pick him up instantly out of the CC. Samayam still getting pressured. Rubcub actually getting locked out there for a quick second. Charge stun over onto Samayam. His Save by the Light's going to proc, but they're just shredding right through it. Rubcub trying to pick him up here into execute range. He has to Evanescence again defensively, but he gets his sheep off of it and a clone onto Smexxin. They managed to make something happen here. Now they need some damage onto Snuts. Beanslayer actually not even attacking him at the moment, going for a maim stun on Smexxin instead. Now chaining that polymorph into a clone, but the clone is not going to be long enough to take Snuts down here with the amount of damage that they have. He's not even going below 80%. Now Method are looking pretty good here. Dark Regeneration still available for Snuts. They still have that gate. They still have the portal. Rubcub's Avenging Wrath is going to be fading here shortly. If they can kill him through it, that would be pretty astonishing. Rubcub actually getting locked out. Smexxin swapping over for a hot minute, trying to take Rubcub down while he's locked out. It's not going to be enough, though. Rubcub will stabilize, and as soon as that Avenging Wrath falls down, I would expect Snuts to go for that Dark Soul.
Yeah, I mean, and there it goes. The Avenging Wrath is down. They go for the Hodge. I believe it does get grounded, though. So Rubcub's Hodge not really doing anything to get it back into this game. Rubcub taking a whole bunch of pressure. The double Shadow Fury out from Snuts. This is the Demon Soul. Rubcub doesn't have a whole lot to deal with this. He uses the Execution Sentence on himself. Save by the Light's going to proc on himself. The Polymorph does land on the Sea-Doo, and this has got to be it for Please Sponsor Us. They got to make something happen right here, right now, or surely Snuts will go down, and he knows it. He's just going to press that regen and get aggressive once again. They have all the momentum in their favor. 2% dampening occur. But Rubcub going to use his bubble here to try to keep his team alive. But do they have the setup available on a Sea-Doo? There's the cross CC Cyclone on a Smexxin. Anything for Sea-Doo. This is the Incarnation coming out from Beanslayer. He trinkets out of that. He's still wanting to pump the damage out onto Snuts. The Cyclone follow up onto Sea-Doo. If there's anything else for Sea-Doo, but the Mass Spellifix coming out from Smexxin at the best times to stop the follow up. And Sea-Doo's going to avoid CC once again at this point. Beanslayer looking for the clone. He lands the half clone, but Snuts is just sitting so pretty here. That's such high health. He gets out of that. He actually unbounds out of that Cyclone to stay aggressive. And Beanslayer and Samayam, they're slowly getting rotted down at 6% dampening. And Rubcub's wings are going to be fading in 20 seconds. And how will he be able to deal with the consistent pressure of Method?
Yeah, Rubcub needs to top his team off before that Avenging Wrath runs out. Surprisingly enough, healers are kind of almost tied on mana. Obviously, Sea-Doo with a bit of a lead here. Smexxin caught that Fist of Justice. Full maim into the full polymorph onto Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo has a trinket and a Spirit Link. Snuts is trying to make sure that he doesn't need to use it by kiting here. Rubcub, though, getting swapped to by Smexxin. Master Flecked out from Smexxin to deny some incoming CC. They're going to break up the chain. Sea-Doo's going to reconnect some heals to Snuts here. Snuts going for that Soul Burn Haunt, getting ready to build up some pressure. He's got Dark Soul coming up in about 15 seconds. Recklessness coming up in about 12. If they can survive for that window, they definitely should be able to take the game with those cooldowns. Sea-Doo now leaving the CC, grounding the next one, but he does get caught into the full polymorph out from Samayam. What can they make happen with this? Can they force the trinket link? Snuts is going to gate away. I would imagine he's going to portal back almost immediately. Portal out from Snuts, still down below half. Sea-Doo's just going to trade out the link. They know that they can take the game right here and now. They got Recklessness. They've got Dark Soul. Rubcub has no bubble, no bops, no Avenging Wrath, really no cooldowns to deal with the pressure. Snuts refreshing that Soulburn Haunt, getting ready for the attack. Smexxin's going to charge over. Are they going to pull the trigger? Sea-Doo sitting through that clone. Actually only has one more link remaining. There's the Dark Soul. Rubcub into the full fear. This should be the game for Method. Smexxin still holding on to that Recklessness. Not too confident to pop it just yet. Stormbolt over onto Rubcub. He's going to bop it. Beanslayer into execute range. Will they finish him off? Recklessness comes out from Smexxin. They're looking to take it. Beanslayer just sitting in execute range, not dying. He says no. Smexxin getting it 2 executes off, and he will survive. And now Rubcub's Avenging Wrath is up, and Please Sponsor Us are still in the game.
They still are, but at 15% dampening. How much longer can this last? Full polymorph on the Sea-Doo. The Hodge over out in the Smexxin. The cross CC is there, and Snuts is on the run with his sprint. And Please Sponsor Us are fighting their way back into this game. In game number 2, there's a Stormbolt on the Rubcub, though. Samayam's got to be careful. He's getting chunked down. The defensive polymorphs go out on the Smexxin over and over, just stopping that momentum. Samayam gets his water elemental back out, and he wants to get in there. There's the double Nova. The Snuts, though, still taking a bunch of pressure. The maim goes out on the Snuts. He's getting taken. taking all the damage. The Hodge goes out in the Rub Cup. The double Shadow Fury from Studs is stopping the momentum from Please Sponsor Us, but they're still trying to push forward. Sea-Doo trying to land a Hex. He's not going to land it, not just yet. The Fear goes out in the Rub Cup. He's going to trinket it right away. Beanslayer in a lot of trouble, man. He's getting too low. He's going to go down here very shortly. He doesn't have that wall for 2 more seconds. Can he survive? The Save by the Light is going to proc. This is the Berserk incarnation from Beanslayer, though. He wants to turn it around on his Snuts. Can they do it? The full cycle lands, forcing the Trinket Link here at 21% dampening, and Sea-Doo's going to be able to heal his team back up. Rub Cup forced to bubble, though, as Beanslayer getting lower and lower into execute range. So close. Smexxin just wants to dunk him so bad. The double Shadow Fury from Snuts once again on both the DPS, and Beanslayer, he surely will go down here. He gets the stealth off. He pushes him back. How are you alive? Beanslayer, the Live Lord, the Hand of Sacrifice coming out from Rub Cup. He gets put into the full fear. Surely he'll go down. He's just kiting Smexxin non-stop. He's somehow alive. Stormbolt the followed up from Rub Cup. Beanslayer typhooning him back. How are you alive right now? And he goes down finally. The Live Lord himself, Beanslayer, is just not enough to take down Method's defense. Whew.
Kind of jumped back into an execute. I mean, it was pretty like a miracle status to survive that long, but he did kind of leap back into it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the CC just never stopped, it would seem, for a Rub Cup, but they did pull out some defensive cooldowns at the very end there. But Method playing it so smart in the way that they play the game. I mean, like, they may have rotated their defensive cooldowns very well, but at the same time, their offensive cooldowns were used very smart. Like, Smexxin wasn't holding on, was just waiting with that recklessness just in case that team stabilized to even put more pressure on. And as it goes deeper and deeper into dampening, it was so much harder for those guys to deal with it. And yeah, Method is taking a 2-0 lead against Please Sponsors here in the lower bracket.
It's looking pretty good for Method right now. Please Sponsor Us are going to have to respond, whether that means changing their comp. I mean, they're getting close. Like, it's hard to say if anything could have been done differently there at the end. I mean, he survived. It was a miracle to survive the first time earlier in the game with that recklessness, and then the second time to survive there. But Avenging Wrath was up for Rub Cup, so if they could have stopped any CC on him, I know he sat a full Warrior Fear overlapped with a Warlock Fear, I think. Then he bopped himself out of the Stormbolt. I don't know. I feel like if Rub Cup had just been able to get any cast off at all onto Beanslayer, that he actually might have been fine there. And Sea-Doo had no more Trinket Links. Snuts had no Dark Regeneration. They might have been able to make something happen. So again, like getting so close to the finish line and then just missing it by a little bit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Please Sponsors definitely have the potential and the ability to take on a team like Method, but it just looks like they maybe need to just iron out exactly how they want to execute their setups, because as soon as they get defensive, you just see the momentum stack up in Method's favor very gradually throughout the game, and it's really hard for them to come back from that. Born Good, thank you so much for that resub, man, for 2 months in a row, buddy. Really do appreciate that. Speaking of the support, we also did get a couple donations as well as subscribers. I'll just read out to you guys real quick while we wait for these teams to ready up. Let's see, I'm just making sure this is the right day. Frosty Wargs says, Tosin Tribe, 2 months in a row. Thank you so much, Tosin, for that 2-month resub. Frosty Wargs, he gave us $5, and he says in his note, oh my gosh, the resub train is so real. Durrell, for 11 months. I think that's the most, the 11 months is actually the most, I think, that we've ever seen someone be subscribed to us. So that's actually crazy. You are one of the very few. Froggy War says, I wanted to say thank you for the tournaments you put on. I dislike mainstream sports like football and love esports, so this is a bi-weekly BlizzCon. I love it. Thank you so much. Holy crow. The resub train is at the station, it would seem. Taylor, for 2 months in a row. Thank you so much, bro. We also got a $5 donation from Undead Nipple. Undead Nipple says, 83k UA tick. That's like 900k damage from one spell. GG, Blizz. Oh, Undead Nipple. Why do you do this to me, bro? I can see chat. I see the dank memes, bro. Thank you for the 5 bones, dude. I really appreciate that. We also got a new sub. Please welcome Buicks to the team with the GCD hypes in chat. Thank you so much, Buicks. BUIXX. But I can stop talking now because the games are ready, and that's what we're really here for, right? It's Tolveron Arena. All right, welcome to Tolvaron Arena. Method sticking with their Warrior Lock Shaman that brought them to victory in tournament number 4. And please sponsor us. They're sticking with Bean, man. They're sticking with the BSX Dream. Can they pull it out? I mean, the Evanescence just doesn't seem like it's enough. They need to do something different. Maybe we get some Death Lobster specs coming out from RubCub too. Yeah.
I don't know if that's really worth it. I think the sponsors actually need this game to go out really long. Sam actually got quite a few sheeps off of nothing that actually turned the game around. Maybe if you could get more of them more frequently, maybe they could take the game. I think there were 2 specifically polymorphs that he got that actually forced so many cooldowns. So let's see if Sam can get those polymorphs by surprise against Method again, or will Sea-Doo stop him in his tracks. We can see both teams reluctant to move in. Obviously, this is Please Sponsor Us' last chance. Map choice is interesting here. It's going to give Snuts a lot of capabilities to kite. I wonder if they're going to go on Sea-Doo or make a swap on Smexxin at some point, maybe. I mean, if they catch Smexxin with no trinket in battle with Incarn or something like that, they definitely could 100-0 him pretty quickly, but it'd be definitely a risk to invest that many cooldowns into Smexxin the Warrior, as they would be rotating up cooldowns on Snuts and Sea-Doo while they do it. But both teams a little bit reluctant to push in here. Dampening can advantage both of them, so you might say, well, the lock team is an advantage in dampening only, but it goes both ways. Snuts' self-healing is going to go down, Sea-Doo's healing is going to go down as well, and the pressure will start mounting for Please Sponsor Us as well.
You know, this is a very different playstyle that we've seen from Please Sponsor Us. Every single game before this, Please Sponsor Us would run in and just get the setup that they need and just push in. And, you know, they do get defensive cooldowns almost every time in their opener. But this time they're playing it very safe. Maybe they want to utilize their procs. They don't want to wait. They want to just take it slow and see how they can do with a lot more defensive cooldowns and offensive cooldowns closer to dampening. And, you know, I like this. This is a different strat. It's an adaptation to their playstyle to take out Method, because what they've been doing so far hasn't worked. They lost 2 games in a row. So I really admire this this presence of mind from Please Sponsor Us to change up their strategy a little bit and try something new and be patient here. But Method, you know, these guys are veterans. They are not going to be pushing out. They're going to know that they're going to take their positional advantage for now, at least. But
as soon as Beanslayer starts backpedaling, you know that he's tilting. He's getting impatient.
The backpedal tilt. No, it's not.
His meow mix.
Everyone's moving on team. Please Sponsor Us. I believe it's strategic. I could be very wrong. Wouldn't be the first time, right? But
yeah, I mean, if they could like hold Incarn until dampening by just staying back here and waiting, maybe it's better for them. Maybe they just go all in on Sea-Doo with Incarn and everything, and try and kill him. We've seen like Mage Moon can do that and do really well. I think the one advantage that the Mage Moon can had was the Solar Beam silence. It seemed to be what was just the extra couple seconds of that silence was able to kill Sea-Doo. So now they don't have Solar Beam with the Feral Druid, so it's a little bit harder. But they can catch him off guard with Beanslayer's quick stuns in succession and maybe stun Sea-Doo's trinket without being able to get the link off. But Smexxin's charging forward. Method are done waiting. Smexxin charging in onto RubCub and Sam loading up some Rens here, trying to build up some initial damage over time effects. Beanslayer opening onto Snuts, looking for a clone, gets wind sheared by Sea-Doo. Now Sam blinking in. Evanescence Sheep on that deep freeze, lands it full. Snuts is going to gate back to his pillar here, but he's still taking quite a bit of damage, already down to 60% HP. Sam goes for the resheep, gets locked out by Snuts. Now Snuts rotating the pressure with this Dark Soul. Beanslayer already in retreat on the opposite side of the map. Sam blinking back to his team, but he's going to get charged up. RubCub fully dotted. Sam fully dotted. Now if they get some dots over onto Beanslayer, it could spell trouble, but RubCub is going to be able to hold onto his Avenging Wrath for now, and that was the initial Dark Soul from Snuts.
yeah, I mean, I really like the choice from Beanslayer and Sam just to pull back. Their momentum was lost. You know, he got locked out on the polymorph, and also the mass Bellafleck came out. They're just like, we're going to call it another day. We're not going to utilize, we're not going to stay in there and force RubCub to use his defensive cooldowns. Instead, they pulled him back, and now all of a sudden, I don't know what's happening.
I think there is a problem. I don't think everyone would stand still if there was a problem right now.
So it looks like there's a problem now. Maybe? I can't actually tell. Maybe they're using dank strats, bro, to try to get it to dampening.
A fake DC.
Fake DC. I don't know, but Method doesn't have to wait. They really don't. So I don't think it's fake. Knowing these players, it's probably not. But
I don't know.
oh, there's a jump. There's a mount up. It looks like they're here. It looks like they're ready to play. Deep Freeze goes out onto Sea-Doo. The bash goes out onto Snuts. He's going to unbound out of that right away. Double Shadow Fury and both the DPS. Beanslayer is going to trinket out of it right away. Rub Cub looking for the Hodge. I don't think he's going to get it. I don't know where that Hodge went, but he looked for it. Snuts still the main kill target for now. There's the second Demon Soul coming out from him. He's trying to get aggressive on the Beanslayer. Haunt's connecting out onto him. There's the Stormbolt onto Rub Cub. Beanslayer's got to be careful here. They're actually swapping the pressure out on a Rub Cub, and Method is just hitting whatever wants to be in their face with Smexxin's Reckless's Blade Storm here at this point. Full Polymorph does land out onto Sea-Doo, and Snuts is taking a bunch of damage from Please Sponsor Us here, but Sea-Doo's going to get out of that, being put into another full Cyclone, and Snuts getting lower and lower. The Hodge goes out onto Smexxin. Snuts ports, but not all that far away. Sea-Doo trying to get back into the game. He goes for the wind shear on Beanslayer's Cyclone. He stops the CC chain for now, but the Maim is going to follow it up into the Frostjaw. Snuts still at 55% health here. He's got to be careful, and no Incarnation or Berserk was used from Beanslayer throughout all of that.
Yeah, Sea-Doo actually sitting through a full polymorph right now, and Snuts is dipping dangerously low. Sea-Doo just going to trinket and link. Bit of an overlap with the rallying cry, though. Snuts now getting locked out on that haunt. They're just pushing right through that first Spear Link. Incarnation comes out from Beanslayer. Denounces are flying in. Offensive Fist of Justice. Snuts goes down, and Please Sponsor Us are going to catch him off guard there with a surprisingly large amount of burst right after Snuts or Sea-Doo trinketed, and just chaining a little bit of small stuns over and over into him and taking Snuts out. And I mean, Method, they aggressively pushed in. Snuts relayed his portal offensively, and I think that ended up biting him in the butt.
Dude, yeah, it absolutely did. I mean, Please Sponsor Us. You know, they came back, and Method was in their face, and you know, they pulled it out. And I think that allowing Method to push forward there instead of letting Please Sponsor Us push in on Method, I think that position did help them out here going into game number 3. And there you have it. They're going to take game number 3 here, winning 1 game and not getting knocked out just yet. They're still in it.
Yeah, so it was interesting how the map ended up working there. I mean, that was a really strange game, to say the least, to start off with. But Method, I guess, just said, like, okay, well, maybe we can just stand on top of them. So Snuts committed everything there. And, I mean, obviously you need to relay your port as a Warlock if you're going to just push in like that. I wonder if they had Gateway or not. I know Snuts used it earlier. I'm not sure if they had it again. Maybe they could have just pulled back for a second. But I don't think they were expecting Beanslayer to Incarnation during the setup that Sea-Doo trinketed. So they got Sea-Doo's trinket, then immediately Incarn even after it. Continued the CC, chained it really well, basically got every single DR of everything off. And that was just enough. And Rallying Cry, unfortunately, fell at the same time that Sea-Doo was still CC'd. So that extra 20%, I think it is, of HP just getting chunked away with Incarnation up, and even Rub Cub's Avenging Wrath. Basically, everything went perfect for Please Sponsor Us in those couple seconds of that setup, and Method were kind of just in the worst position they could be in just because they were trying to be aggressive. So now that they have their map pick, I don't think the same thing's going to happen.
Yeah, and that being said, it's the last time that, like, Please Sponsor Us cannot give up another game without being eliminated here at this point. We are in that lower bracket, so that means that the team that loses this series will be eliminated, and with just 1 game away from Method taking the series on their map choice, it's going to be a rough uphill battle for Please Sponsor Us, saying the very least. Can they do it on Method's map choice? What do they have left, Clutter? Blade's Edge, Dalaran, and Ruins. Ooh, we actually got the map choice from Method, and we're going to see what that is here in a hot minute between Method and Please Sponsor Us. Is game number 4. Potentially match point for Method. What map are we going to?
I think Dalaran and Blades actually would be some of the best ones. It seems like Snuts is really the only target that they could consistently kill, and Blades and Dalaran both give them the ability to, like, stack up. Well, obviously Blades gives him the Z-axis for his portal to be pretty much untouchable. But Dalaran would be the safest overall if they want to keep everyone in the match, and Smexxin will be able to get those sweeping strikes, blade storms onto 3 players most of the time if Please Sponsor Us play aggressive. But I like that initial pull back. As soon as they saw Snuts' Dark Soul, they're just like, evacuate, alarm, and just ran to the opposite side again. So I like that instant reaction and pulling back to line of sight, that cooldown. Maybe they could do that a little bit more and try and bait Snuts and Smexxin in with Sea-Doo again like that, because once they got them in, definitely looked a lot easier to take advantage of them. So I wonder if they can play like that on the smaller map, or if they're just going to fall to the pressure.
Yep. Like you called it, man. We are going to Dalaran. I like Dalaran a bit more than Blade's Edge. I think Blade's Edge definitely makes it a much more dramatic portal coming out from Snuts, and he being the main kill target so far. It'd probably be a really good choice, but I like Dalaran because Smexxin does work, man. I mean, he's proven time and time again that he is a playmaker, and Dalaran Sewers I just think is his home base to make that happen. But here we go, guys. We're going to jump into this map. It's Dalaran Sewers. Welcome everyone to Dalaran Sewers. It's Please Sponsor Us versus Method. Game number 4 here between these two. Method now up 2-1. Just one win away from taking the series by storm. Can they do it, or will Please Sponsor Us rise up and take down Method? We're going to find out here in a few short seconds on Dalaran Sewers. Beanslayer, Samayam, and Rubcub still sticking with the Pharaoh Mage Paladin, and Method sticking with the Warrior Lock Shaman that got them all the way to the finals and became the champions of GPL number 4.
Yeah, if Please Sponsor Us can win on this map specifically, they might have the confidence to take the series. I mean, that last game was kind of goofy. So I like this. Not taking the time. If Please Sponsor Us are going to be inactive, relaying a really nice gateway, not even with line of sight of the waterfall. He positioned that perfectly. It gets across the map without having to worry about the line of sight. So Snuts is just trying to poke forward and get some cheeky dots out here. Beanslayer sitting in stealth at the moment. Smexxin just on his Gronling, waiting to charge in and smash some faces, going for that Blade Storm right away, maybe trying to immune a Hodge who's kind of scared to go out of line of sight of Sea-Doo. Lands a double fear onto Rubcub and Samayam. That's going to sit full. Samayam blinking back. It looks like they're trying to lure Smexxin into their clutches here behind the box, and he's not falling for that trap. He's just going to hit the Water Elemental and stay in Sea-Doo's line.
He just kills a Water Elemental, and another one being coming out from Samayam. But Smexxin playing smart, but also playing aggressive. It's very hard to have that harmony between the two. It looks like Please Sponsor Us is going to force Method to be aggressive here if they want to go in and if they want to start the game. They're not going to give up their positioning on this pillar. Look at them move as a team. You got to admire it just a little bit, seeing that these guys play a very different type of game we've seen in the past, a much more patient game. Another Water Elemental goes down with Samayam going to be Water Elemental-less. Here's the Maim out on the Smexxin here behind the pillar. Snuts actually trying to push in as well. The Hodge to follow it up now, put into the full Cyclone. Snuts is the kill target though. Acetus put into the full Polymorph. Double Ice Nova surprise goes out on to Snuts, dipping him down to 25% health here. The Mass Spell Effect to follow it up, and Sea-Doo is not going to be putting any more CC for now. As I say that DR Polymorph does land, and Snuts is going to port back, looking for a defensive fear. The half Cyclone lands on the Sea-Doo, and Snuts still in a lot of trouble as Beanslayer reconnects. This is not Incarnation or Berserk yet, and a Spirit Link is going to be used out from Sea-Doo. He gets put into another clone, and Snuts isn't out of the water just yet. He could definitely go down here, but Please Sponsor Us doesn't look like they want to push in just yet. They want to wait for their DRs and push in when it's best for them.
That was smart by Snuts. He's still holding on to his Dark Souls. He immediately, usually in that position when the mage team is pushing in, that's the best time to pop it. You'll get the most value with the most people in your line of sight. But he saw them running away. He knew what was going to happen from the previous game. So he's just holding on to those Dark Souls. He wants to make sure that he forces cooldowns with them. He doesn't want to use them and get nothing. Very important to get Avenging Wrath out of a Holy Paladin if you want to get a kill against them early on. But now they're going to be charging in on their mounts. Snuts relaying his portal. We saw this last time aggressively. Will it backfire? Full Fist of Justice on the Smexxin, Deep Freeze on the Sea-Doo. Evanescence Polymorph should connect. Snuts is alone here, and his aggressive portal positioning might cost him here. Sea-Doo is forced to trinket. He grounds the next Polymorph, goes into the Rake Stun. Incarnation out from Beanslayer, but a triple Fury into the triple Shadow Fury out from Method is going to give Sea-Doo the time to get that last Spirit Link down. Snuts now popping the Dark Soul. Leap in onto Samayam. He's getting bursted down very hard. Saber the Light's going to proc. Avenging Wrath is forced out by Rubcub. And now, are they just going to stay on top of them is the question. It seems like that is the strategy. Rubcub evacuating the pillar. He does not want to get cleaved down by Smexxin. Beanslayer swapping sides of the map. Samayam blinking over as well. Smexxin charging forward. Snuts gating in offensively again, and Method are playing so aggro right now. Sea-Doo caught into the Deep Freeze. Triple stuns out. Smexxin trinkets. Goes for the Master Fleck. Doesn't manage to get it. Evanescence, I think, denied it. Sea-Doo into the Polymorph. Snuts alone here with no Dark Regeneration for about 13 more seconds. If they can keep the CC going and get some damage here, Snuts is going to portal. Nice. He actually saved his portal on the opposite side, so he could get some distance. But now he's back into the fray, trying to get back to Sea-Doo's side. And now with no more CC, they should be all right. But Please Sponsor Us got everybody's trinket. The next setup could still be deadly.
Yeah, I mean, Please Sponsor Us new strat is doing work, and Method sees that, man. They're not letting him sit behind this pillar anymore. They're playing aggressive. I like that. They see that they're gaining a momentum, and they're not letting him take this advantage any longer. They just want to be in their face nonstop, but will it be exactly what Please Sponsor Us wants? Rubcub now without wings. He just has that bubble available to him moving forward. The double Shadow Fury from Snuts once again. There's the deep freeze. Smexxin going to use the Mass Speller Flake to prevent anything off of that, but the full Polymorph does land anyway. Snuts into that maim. He's taking a bunch of pressure right here. Rubcub keeping his team aggressive at this point. Snuts at 60% health here has got to be careful. No incarnation available for Beanslayer, but they still have a lot of pressure available to him. And Snuts is forced to pull back, and now Please Sponsor is just going to take that opportunity to just get back on their pillar and wait it out and find their next opportunity to make their next setup. It's been working out for them so far. Smexxin pushing in, trying to punish Samayam. The triple Blade Storm coming out as well, chunking down everyone into the triple Shadow Fury. Snuts' Demon Soul is about to do work, and Samayam has got to be careful. Rubcub knows it. He's going to pop that bubble and keep his team aggressive, but Beanslayer getting locked out on that Cyclone, trying to follow it up on a Sea-Doo, and Method is taking some momentum in their favor. Rubcub's wings are still up. The Hand of Sacrifice goes out onto Beanslayer. He's trying to keep him alive, but Maim goes out onto Snuts. The full Polymorph lands out into Sea-Doo. Please Sponsor Us is trying to turn it around once again. The Frostjaw to follow it up. He's going to Stone Form out of that and get the shear on Beanslayer's follow-up Cyclone. Great job by Sea-Doo stopping the momentum of Please Sponsor Us, and it looks like they're finally finding their stride. They have a Spirit Link available to them, and Snuts should be completely fine here moving forward for the next setup.
I like this. Snuts holds onto his Dark Souls until they get CC. So now they force Rubcub's Trinket on that full fear. Samayam still getting pressured. Rubcub really doesn't have very many cooldowns left. He's got one more Blessing of Protection. Is he going to have to use it here? Saved by the Light procced onto Samayam. Smexxin leaping in to finish the job. He knows that Please Sponsor Us are on the ropes. Recklessness Bladestorm is going to start cleaving everyone apart. Rubcub trying to evacuate the pillar. Evanescent Sheep over onto Cedar, but that Frozen Orb might break it. Just barely tickling him. Not enough to break it. Hodge onto Smexxin. Snuts could be in trouble here. Cedar has his Trinket Link. He should be all right now. The CC breaking up. Rubcub forced to bop himself out of that Stormbolt. Can Sea-Doo purge it off in time? He goes for one purge. Not enough to get it off, unfortunately. Never lucky. That bot will sit full. Rubcub will survive for now. He needs about 18 more seconds for his Avenging Wrath to be able to recover his team. But with Trinket Link, Trinket Regeneration, Trinket Rallying Cry, it's not looking good for Please Sponsor Us right now. Beanslayer's Incarnation is their last hope. What can he get done with it? Sea-Doo gets caught into that full Cyclone. Are they going to just pop the Incarnation with the clone? I feel like they should. Nature's Vigil up from Beanslayer, trying to get a little bit of extra healing, going for a reclone, not able to get it. Actually switching the clone to Smexxin for a second there. Deep Freeze not up for a couple more seconds for Samayam. It's not looking good for Please Sponsor Us. Rubcub's Avenging Wrath is now available, but he's caught into the full Stormbolt stun. What can he do to survive? Offensive Purge is coming up from Sea-Doo. Rubcub barely surviving, gets that Avenging Wrath off. Now we see the Incarnation out onto Snuts. Please Sponsor Us have to get a kill with this Incarnation or they will surely lose this game, but Snuts is just kiting like a lord at the moment. Beanslayer unable to connect for the time being. Finally reconnecting onto Snuts, but there's no more CC onto Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo should be able to heal him. Beanslayer sees it. He's going to clone him up, deny that healing surge, and just retreat. But retreating with this Incarnation is running away with your last hope to win.
It really is. That 12% dampening method's got the momentum in their favor. The triple fear comes out from Smexxin. The Demon Soul from Snuts. They want to end it. The triple Shadow Fury to follow it up. Method is just toying with Please Sponsor Us at this point. Can Rubcub survive through this? The Aura Mastery to negate the damage of the whole party and let Rubcub free cast is going to come out. Is it going to be enough, though? The DR Hodge to follow it up on him from the Mass Spell Reflect of Smexxin. Once again, the main goes out on the Sea-Doo. They have something to follow it up. I don't think so. Rubcub going to bubble to keep his team alive at this point. Snuts' aggressive portal is going to come out, but at this point, he's just line of sighting with that sprint. He's going to catch a whole bunch of heals, and Please Sponsor Us are slowly fading to the consistent pressure of Snuts and Smexxin. Triple Shadow Fury comes out from Snuts once again, just stopping this team in their tracks. Rubcub at 21% mana, getting locked out on Word of Glory. Smexxin, though, getting defensively polymorphed up over and over and over again. He gets locked out again. Rubcub, can you do it? Can you survive? He's at 32% health here, 17% dampening. He's desperately trying to. He's in execute range, and down he goes. Method gonna take the series.
Had their turn. Everybody just had their turn. Like, I'm gonna interrupt Rubcub, or I'm gonna interrupt Rubcub. It's my turn to interrupt Rubcub, and you just got interrupted 3 times in a row. And Method are gonna take it cleanly there towards the end. And Please Sponsor Us will be eliminated from the tournament.
There it is. Please Sponsor Us, though. They've always come back time and time again and showed us some great games. They did just that for us today with their adaptation on their strategy, but they will fall to Method here in game number 4, and Method will be moving forward into that lower bracket to face the winner of this next series. Taking a quick
Alright.
look at that replay, the interrupts that are coming out from Method, and you know, to not have to overlap when they both have the interrupts available to them is definitely some impressive synergy showcased by Method. So can't wait to see them continue to compete here in GPL tournament number 5 winter. And let's take a